Hi, Jenni here. Happy New Year 2026. It was also my birthday last week on the first day. I'm 29 now. That's crazy. Anyways, I wanted to make a video about the movies that are my top 4 on my Letterboxd account. I talked about Letterboxd in a video a year ago and I haven't used it as much as I used it before, as in I don't log in every single rewatch I have because I rewatch a lot of movies. I realized this. But I still really enjoy the platform and I enjoy tracking my movies. But when I say my top 4 Letterboxd films, they're not exactly like my favorite, the greatest movies ever made to me, but they are movies that really speak to me in this moment. I have changed my top films a few times, and I don't know, I just wanted to share my current ones. Also, I'm a bit nervous about making this video because I'm not a film buff. I don't know what I'm talking about. If I watch a movie and I like it, it's an easy 4 to 5 stars for me. I don't look into all of the technical aspects of filmmaking, but I do enjoy movies and I really appreciate great cinematography and great storytelling. And the first one, and I think this is like one of my favorite films, is Perfect Days. It was directed by Wim Wenders, and I saw this for the first time in 2024, and I rewatched it in 2025. And it was such a highly impactful movie for me that I felt like when the movie ended, I wanted to stay in that world. The movie tells about an older man, Hirayama, I think he's like in his 50s, living in Tokyo. He cleans toilets for a living, and his life is pretty repetitive and mundane. He works his job every day, then he goes to specific places to take a bath, to go eat at a specific restaurant. He takes photos of his favorite trees during lunch break, and his life is this repetition of routines. He doesn't have any smart devices. He uses cassettes, he uses film camera to take photos, and he reads books. His life is this repetitive cycle, but he doesn't seem to mind it. It seems that he is happy and at least somewhat content in his life. There is a change in routine, kind of when his niece arrives to visit him. He hasn't spoken to his sister in a long time, but the niece needed an escape and went to visit her uncle. He still continues on living the way he does, just with his niece present. I'll actually just read my first review of the film. My soul burst with sweetness and melancholy at the same time. I do have to admit, when I was first watching it in 2024, I was expecting something awful, something like a big, horrible twist, but it never came. It was just like a really mundane experience in the best way possible. It just showed to me that there is this beauty in repetition and in routine and just in living a normal life. The ending scene, in my opinion, it is a bit questionable about like what does the main character think about his life? Is he sad? Is he angry? Is he content? The ending really leaves those questions open to the viewer. I think Koji Yakusho did an incredible portrayal of the main character. It was just a really deeply impactful movie. I just wanted to stay in that world for as long as I could have while being in that small movie theater. So that is my first movie, and it is one of my favorite movies ever. The next movie on my top 4 for Letterboxd is The Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, which was directed by Michel Gondry, and it stars Jim Carrey as Joel and Kate Winslet as Clementine, and they date at one point and have a really meaningful relationship, but then it falls apart, and Clementine goes on to erase Joel from her memories, and then he feels that he has to do the same. It was released in 2004. I had seen a lot of discussion about this film online and how incredible it is. So when I noticed that it was on Netflix, I wanted to watch it. I went in with some kind of prejudice, like, okay, a lot of people online like this, so let's see what it is really about. Is it even that great? And I do have to say that it really is. I totally understand why it has this kind of cult following. I think it just shows Jim Carrey playing this character of Joel so different to his other work, at least from what I know of. And I don't know, Joel is such like a melancholic character who is stuck in his life, and then he meets Clementine and things start to shine differently to him. But then they break up because he doesn't feel comfortable with the way Clementine doesn't meet societal expectations, if that makes sense. And of course, Kate Winslet is absolutely brilliant in this role as well. And I feel like the main message of this movie is that you should never give up on love, even if there are some hard times, even if you don't agree on everything. Obviously, that's not true for everyone. Like, some relationships must end, but I felt like this offered a really sweet message. And it did it in a very unique way, and all the different worlds that they lived in, while in Joel's mind, as Joel's trying to erase Clementine, it was so quirky and unexpected and very different from what I usually like. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. And my review of the movie, like what I posted on Letterboxd, was that, wait, this was excellent. Because I don't know, sometimes when movies are really hyped up online, they don't meet the expectations, and it definitely surprised me. Third movie that I have featured on my Letterboxd page is Dreamgirls, which is based on a Broadway musical, which is like loosely based on Diana Ross and the Supremes. And yeah, it tells the story of this 1960s girl group and how one of the members doesn't feel fulfilled in her role in the group and then goes on her own way. It is directed by Bill Condon, who apparently directed the Twilight movies. Okay, range. And it has Jennifer Hudson and Beyonce and all these incredible actors in the movie. Obviously, I love musicals so much, and I feel like right now, Dreamgirls kind of represents the fact that I love musicals in my top 4. It is a really great musical, and I feel like it reflected a lot on real life. The soundtrack is absolutely incredible. Yeah, I feel like it's a very impressive musical and tells about a time in American pop culture that deserves to have its moment in spotlight. I also have the original Broadway soundtrack recording on vinyl as well, so like this musical obviously means a lot to me. The last movie that I have featured on my top 4 is something that I would have never thought I would feature. And that is Varjoja Paratiisissa, directed by Aki Kaurismäki. And in English it's called Shadows in Paradise. I don't watch a lot of Finnish films. I don't know, they just haven't been for me. But when I saw Fallen Leaves by Aki Kaurismäki, I absolutely loved it. I loved the melancholy, the minimalism, the fact that it's in modern time, but the characters don't have smartphones and they use the radio to get the news. Like, I love that atmosphere. Basically, Shadows in Paradise tells the story of Nikander, who is a garbage man, and he meets Ilona, who is a grocery store worker. And they fall in love, and it's awkward, and it's a bit uncomfortable to watch, but it's also really sweet and has full of heart. And it takes them a while to get together. There are misunderstandings, but they eventually do. This movie is part of a trilogy that Aki Kaurismäki did that's like about the working class. Then The Fallen Leaves was kind of a continuation of that trilogy. And I think in these movies, Aki Kaurismäki really well captures the reality and life of a working Finnish person. I love the dialogue, how simple but impactful it is. I like the humor in it. Usually the humor in Finnish movies is not for me, but here it works really, really well. I think for me this movie represents like the type of unconventional romantic movies that I like, kind of like Eternal Sunshine. And yeah, I really, really loved this story. We even went to see the play adaptation of this film, and it was really, really lovely. Alright, so those are my top 4 on Letterboxd. How did I do? What do you think? Judge me all you want, I don't care. And yeah, let me know your top 4 in the comments below. Happy New Year! I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.